When you find a real estate platform that aligns everyone in the entire company financially by making us real estate agents owners, so when the average agent wins, everyone wins, that's the secret to success. And when you surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurial people who absolutely love what they do, they love serving people, they love God and life, and you put yourself in an environment of high energy, high producing, positive people every day, you can't help but succeed in business and life. We are changing the real estate industry and changing real estate agents' lives. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever Podcast.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever Podcast. You guys are in for a treat today. I have a friend of mine, Mr. Matthew Stewart, broker from the Greater Sacramento, California area. How you doing today, Matthew?
I am blessed. It's a lovely morning out here in California.
Well, I'm excited to get to know you better and I'll just to share a little bit of background info with our listeners. I know you've been a top producer for many years, constantly in the Masters Club in your board and top 5% of real estate agents. I think in the board, but you're probably the top 5% in the nation with your background, to be honest with you, in my opinion anyway. But I know you said you've been in real estate since you were 19 years old and your family was top producers, your mom and dad in the industry as well. So I'm excited to hear a little bit more of your story and just bring some value to our listeners. So thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I do want to clarify, just for proper disclosure, I'm not doing nearly the volume that I've done in years past or whatever. I'm actually kind of phasing out of production now as a direct result of the blessings of, my choice and hard work over here at EXP. That platform has been life-changing. I tell realtors all the time, I said, look, I've done this since I was 19, 20 years old. I'm 47 now. My parents have been brokers for 49 years. So I've literally grown up in this business my entire life, and I've been with some very good companies. I've been part owner in some real estate offices and in the business, but I could never say that any of those other brands, companies changed my life. I can honestly say EXP has changed my wife and I, our lives. So it is quite a difference. And to even think of saying I'm phasing out of production, that's one of the big hits that I've heard throughout the years of, you go to EXP and they don't sell as many homes, which isn't true. We're crushing it in regards to production and so forth. But the reason that people can say that, phasing out of production is because of the blessing that is EXP and the stock aspect and the revenue share and those sort of things. I mean, it's pretty incredible what this model allows, a realtor to be able to do, as long as they kind of dig in and understand the company and the opportunities at hand. I always tell people, I go, Andre, this is like our Google moment, right? Yep. I mean, there was a time when people would say, Google it. And you're like, what? Google? What is that? What's a Google? Right. There was a time when people said, what is a Google?
In our lifetime. Yeah.
And, and now nobody questions what's a Google, right? We understand, just Google it. Well, that's kind of what is happening with EXP. It's such a disruptor in the marketplace. It's completely changing the model, right? From the old fashioned traditional model of real estate, which I've done for decades, to now completely disrupting an industry that really hasn't been disrupted, probably, to be honest, since KW 30 years ago, right? With their profit sharing and, you can brand yourself and having a cap and those sort of things that, when I joined KW 22 years ago, wonderful company, it was a disruptor when I joined 22 years ago. Not so much today, in my opinion. But EXP definitely is. So.
Well said. I mean, isn't that when we first become real estate agents, myself, when I was 22 years old, yourself, 19, the goal was just to understand the industry and start selling some houses and making some money, right? I remember my first goal was to, earn $100,000. Never done that before. Then once you got to that point, you want to net 100, right? And then 200 and kind of continue. And then at some point, you can't sell any more houses without working more than 20 hours a day, right? And then you got to figure out, well, to get to the next level, you got to start a team. And of course, we started a team, and then many people stop there, but the entrepreneurial mindset will be, hey, let's start a brokerage, right? And most of us have been there and done that. And even if you're a broker or if you're just a single agent, at some point in your life, you have to think about your exit strategy. You have to think about, how am I going to get off, this transactional treadmill, as we like to say.
Yeah.
And that's what this what it's all about at some point, right? So thanks for sharing that. Let's tell us a little bit more about your background, how you got into real estate. I know it was pretty young, and share a little bit about your real estate history there.
Yeah, absolutely. I hated real estate. Swore I'd never get into it. The reason for that, my mom was the #1 selling agent in multiple counties here, Placer, El Dorado, in the late 80s, early 90s. So here I am growing up during this time when my mom is averaging over 2 sales a week on average. Wow. With no team. There weren't really teams back then. It was her and a part-time assistant. Right. It was no digital signature, no real email, no text messaging, no real cell phones necessarily. Totally different time. Realtors today have things so much easier because we have the conveniences of technology, right?
Right.
Well, she literally was going and, hey, they countered your counter. Are you guys still awake? I can swing by tonight and we can get this deal done tonight. Hey, press hard. There's 3 copies, right? And then the next phone call was to me at home, expecting them to come because she'd always take my dad with her, right? Because it's late at night, and I understand that.
Sure.
But I'm there alone with my brother, and I'm going, man, this sucks. Real estate sucks. And the next call was, sweetie, hey, we're running late. We're going to get this deal done tonight, which I'm like, who cares? As a kid, I'm like, okay, great. Another deal. You're going to have to make your own dinner kind of thing. So I said, man, I never want to do real estate. And I remember we were sitting around the dinner table, and if the phone rang, Andre, she would pop up and answer the phone because and I said, Mom, come on, we're going to have dinner. I haven't seen all the, and she's like, well, it might be an ad call because this was back in the day. You do ads in the newspaper, right. Penny Power or Penny Pincher or whatever these ads were, real estate book. And so she didn't want to miss it because even back then, the speed to lead was still a deal because it just was a little slower because it was the phone call calling off an ad. And she goes, if I don't answer it, they'll call the next realtor on the next page or the next ad, right? And so, I get it now. I'm older. I'm a little wiser experience-wise. I get it. Okay, yeah, she had to answer those calls. But it just sucks. So I swore I'd never get into real estate. And I graduated at 17, held out for a little bit. I was waiting for the Sacramento Kings to give me a call for a tryout. I say that tongue in cheek. Literally, that was never happening. I was 4'11", 93 pounds. Thankfully, I did grow to 6 feet tall and 190. But anyway, so that call never came. They said, hey, what are you going to do with your life? And I said, I don't know. And they said, hey, you're a good communicator. You love people. Why don't you look at doing real estate? You always hear all the bad things we talk about at the dinner table, but it's a great career and we think you'd be great at it. And if you don't, you're young enough, you could do something else. Made sense to me. So I did it, started at Coldwell Banker, got recruited over to, isn't that the nature of our business? Agents say, well, another recruiting call. I'm like, well, hey, it's the nature of the business. You were probably recruited at your current brokerage where you're at. So, let's get over it and kind of talk about what's best for you and your business and your family. And so anyway, I got recruited over to Keller Williams, and to me, nobody had heard of this Keller Williams. They thought it was a paint company, right? Sherwin-Williams, Kelly.
Yeah, right.
This. And so against my mom's counsel, because they owned a Coldwell Banker franchise. They said, oh my gosh, totally Coldwell Banker. It's a trusted brand. It's known. I've never even heard of this KW thing. And I said, I don't know, Mom, I love you and I trust you, but there's just something about it. I'm making the move. I think it's the right thing to do. So I made the move. I liked how you could brand yourself. There was a cap and there was profit sharing. That made sense. I wanted to get passive residual reoccurring income outside of my real estate sales because I grew up with the transactional treadmill.
Yeah.
Mom. And, I ended up becoming recruiter of the year at the most profitable office in the world at the time for KW. I ended up becoming invited to be an owner and part owner in 3 offices. Now that sounds great, but I had to buy in. I think it was $18,000 for 1%. At the time, I so wanted to get over into I guess on the podcast, it'd be the right side of the cash flow quadrant, where you're a business owner or investor, rather than the left side, which I was, you have employee and then self-employed. And every realtor on here is self-employed. There's very few that actually have a true business. Definition of a business is if you leave your business and don't touch it for a year and you come back, then it would, it will have still be there or have grown in your absence. I don't know any realtor that could say that, right? So I see this and I go, okay, I need to get into ownership. I need to build passive residual income through KW profit share and all that stuff. And it's great. Wonderful company. Nothing negative to say on KW. I will say recruiter of the year out of the most profitable office in the world. The most I made was $19,700 in a year.
Wow.
Now, I'll take an extra 20 grand. Not going to turn it away, but it's not life-changing. I'm still on the transactional treadmill, only as good as my last sale, still getting those plastic trophies and going, hey, great year. You crushed it. What are you going to do next year? You should probably grow 25, 50, 100%. What, do more. And I'm like, okay, this kind of sucks. Like, what's the exit strategy? So I'm not trading my time for money the rest of my life. And so fast forward, because there was a time where I left real estate. I built a network marketing business that took me across the nation and then over into Africa and Nigeria and South Africa. And I was raising up leaders and coaching and going to different cities and running events. And it was an amazing leadership development program that didn't pay that well. When I ran the numbers and looked at my real estate, I went, gosh, I made more money in real estate and I got to sleep in my own bed. So I went back to real estate, got back in the game, got my broker's license. Shortly thereafter, learned about EXP. Almost said no on it, Andre, because said, oh, this is another KW. It's just online. Like I've kind of been there, done that. I'm focused on other ways to build residual passive income. And thankfully, my partners in this business, one of my sponsors, the #1 KW agent in the world 7 times. And then his sponsor built 10 Keller Williams offices from scratch to over 2,000 agents and then went on to own 31 of them. Just rock stars in real estate, right? First ballot Hall of Famers, if we had such a thing. And they said, Matt, no, don't miss this. This is totally different, believe it or not, than KW. It takes all the good stuff, which there's a lot at KW, it's a lot of good stuff, and it strips away all the bad stuff, right? It's kind of like you get the chicken and spit out the bones kind of thing. So I said, okay, all right, I'll look at it. And they said, look, what you did at KW, that 20,000 a year, if you did it over here at EXP, it'd be like 20 to 30,000 a month. And I went, are you serious? My mind blown. I'm like, are you serious? Because that's what I've been looking for. That is life-changing. And if I can help other agents do the same thing, now I bless my family financially, but then I also build my second mountain, like Tony Robbins says, right? Our first mountain is building for ourselves and our family and our, all that stuff. And then we go, okay, we're at the peak of the mountain. We go, wow, there's another mountain over there. How can I contribute to others and make a difference in others' lives? And EXP, in my opinion, satisfies both mountains.
Yeah, that's well said. That's pretty cool. I love the background and how you've really I know you're changing lives. I mean, we getting to know each other a little bit better through the leadership calls that we're on, and it's been fun I've learned actually quite a bit from you, Matthew, on some of the calls.
Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I appreciate that. You're a big giver and a man of faith as well. So we connect there. I just want to shout out to a bunch of our listeners on there. Can't name them all, but Nina, Stephen, Russell, Bill, George, Missy. Please, if you have any questions for Matt, please put them in the comments or in the comment section, and please share this with your friends and your real estate buddies. And let's continue getting the love out there And we're trying to get the word out. What's what this podcast, Financial Freedom Forever podcast, is all about, is getting the word out there to other real estate professionals like us that have been, busting their behind, just taking care of their families, but being out there on the road all day, every day, helping others build, secure home ownership, which is very fulfilling. But at the end of the day, like Matthew just said, we're only good as our last sale. And this business model is absolutely changing the industry, and excited to talk about it. Thanks, Keith and Victoria, for jumping on as well. So let's keep the conversation going, Matt. So when some of your business partners at Keller Williams, I know Tom Days, wasn't he like the #1 Keller Williams agent in KW for like 7 or 8 years?
7 years in the world, not consecutive, but 7 years, #1 in the world. Yeah. Out of 180 something thousand realtors. And it's just incredible. He's super humble, family man, loves the Lord, just great guy. Great guy.
So when someone like that moves over, people kind of pay attention. So what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And is he your sponsor? Is he the one that reached out to you, or?
Him and Don Yoakum, they've kind of been business partners for a number of years and best friends.
Right.
And so I ran with them and was part owner in, like I said, 3 offices that Don built in the Greater Sacramento area. So yeah, they had reached out to me. And what's funny is I'd actually heard of EXP before Brent Gove. And I hate to say that, but I had heard about it the same year. But before Brent Gove heard of it, Brent joined in October. I was talking to somebody in July about it. Someone kind of called me out of the blue. I was interested, but things just didn't line up. Timing's everything. Didn't line up for me to move forward on it at the time. And then it came back around 2 years later. My wife is a title rep, so she was kind of, getting on me all the time, like, man, more and more moving over. Why aren't you there, babe? You'd crush this and blah, blah. I said, I just don't feel in my spirit it's the right time. Anyway, so we're here now. It's amazing. We've been blessed. We've got a growing organization, have a lot of amazing people in it, more coming all the time. And, what I love about this, Andre, and you can speak this because you have a huge organization, bigger than mine. I'm in 19 states and 3 countries, soon to be 4 countries. And it's amazing the scalability of this thing, right? I mean, traditional old-fashioned real estate is I'm geographically bound, right? If I want to expand and grow, I'm only growing in my backyard. I can only recruit agents to a brick and mortar location that's about 45 minutes away, maybe an hour max. But that's about it, right? And then if I want to grow, I got to open up another brick and mortar location. Right. And so that's very limiting. It's slow grow, a lot of overhead, a lot of capital
expensive.
Risk, expensive, all that stuff. EXP hit the ground running, boom, all of a sudden started expanding in different states because agents know agents who know agents who know agents who know agents, right? And we're just there to support them and love on them and plug them into the system. And EXP keeps expanding and growing more and more items of value. I'd heard we just signed a huge contract with REO, different REO offerings. We're got a whole relocation program that's huge. We're actually taking business from other huge brand name companies that people on this podcast would know of if we mentioned them, and they weren't servicing the clients per the middle assigning relo people. They said, yeah, they weren't servicing the clients to our desire. We were looking elsewhere, and we came across EXP, and to have a national brand, all 50 states and agents rocking in there. And they've been so happy with us. They've signed, they're sending us so much business. It's amazing. Right. And so when agents that are outside EXP kind of put their emotional hat aside, right? Their ego, their pride, whatever, things they've heard on the street, false information from their managers, brokers, whatever it is, there's a lot of it out there because there's a lot of fear. We're producing fear in competition because we're growing so fast. But if they put their emotional hat aside and put their business hat on and really look at this and go, hey, I've got friends, I've got, family in real estate in my current brokerage or whatever. But the reality at the end of the day is none of them pay my bills. None of them are going to put my kid through college. None of them are going to fund my retirement, right? They're water cooler chat family and so on. I said, look, if they truly are friends and they are family, couldn't you still have mimosas together? Couldn't you still do happy hour? Couldn't you still do breakfast, lunch, brunch, dinners, whatever, as friends? Well, it doesn't matter what company you're with, right? And they go, well, that's true. And I said, and we run the numbers and we look at the offering and everything at EXP, and it's far superior in a lot of instances, because we're on calls together and I'm talking to agents. I was talking to an agent the other day. This blows my mind. And this agent is paying their broker $100,000 a year, okay, more than if they would just move to EXP. And they said, well, I love my brokerage. I love my family. I need a brick and mortar office. And I said, good Lord, you could buy a building. Are you kidding me? Like in 5 years, it's $500,000 cash for doing what you're doing already now, not making a change, in regards to buyers and sellers and production and all that, just simply making a change from being a renter at your current brokerage, because that's what you are. You're not getting any ownership in the brokerage. You're paying them tooth and nail, it's just crazy. And, maybe they're mowing your lawn, maybe they're cleaning your pool. They're a great landlord and you love them, but you're doing exactly opposite of what you teach your clients, right? Don't you coach your buyers that are renting? Hey, don't rent, become an owner, because you need to build equity for your family. You're paying someone else's mortgage over here. That's what you're doing. Hello. That's what you're doing at your current brokerage that you're paying through the nose for your comfort zone. I'm so comfortable over here. And that comfort's costing them $100,000. Now, businessman, like, are you kidding me? $100,000? Do you know what I could do with $100,000 on investing in other investments that would pay me a passive income? Right? Because my whole thing is, how do I get out of trading time for money? And that really should ultimately be all of realtors' mindset to a degree. When you're free, you can still sell real estate. You get to choose what you want to do, who you want to work with, when you want to work with them, and so on, right? Versus having to sell real estate. There's a big difference. So anyway, it just kind of boggles my mind. I'm talking to more and more of these agents that, they're kind of stuck on this brick and mortar. And I said, look, we have so many solutions. If you want a brick and mortar, there are so many solutions for you to get a brick and mortar. One, you could buy your own building, or you could, two, lease your own space, right? Three, you could partner with a lender that expanded like crazy over the last 3 years through the refi boom and all that stuff. Now it's contracting and they're sucking wind, a lot of them. And so they have this space. They would love to have a performing realtor that's doing 20, 30, 40, 70, 100 transactions a year. Right, Andre? Wouldn't they love to have a realtor in their office right there? Right. And so there's a gal, she got space, actually 2 offices, like, kind of private office spaces in this lender's office. And they have a front desk receptionist, and she's got a conference room, all of this stuff. And it was $400 a month. $400 a month. She's got more service, better professional, and she's got a brick and mortar and so on. So there's so many different solutions that, you and I have come up with. But anyway, you get me going, Andre. I'll just get.
Yeah. But I think people, like you said, they're comfortable. And if you're comfortable, you're not looking, people say, why fix it if it's not broke? But we all know what's the killer of comfort, right?
I always say that your comfort zone is your broke zone.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. I've heard that too, right? So, if you're comfortable all the time, there's a reason they call it lazy boy, and it's a real comfortable recliner chair, right? So, I have an agent that's looking to come over in January. He's a big producer. And one of the big things he realized, he was very honest with himself. He said, I've kind of been in a little bit of funk in my business. We've been more a glorified order taker the last 5-6 years, haven't had to work super hard. I've got a really comfortable life, making good money. But he goes, I'm a little stale, quite frankly. And I've been doing this long enough. I think he's been doing it 17, 18, maybe 20 years. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, 17 to 20 years. And he said, you know what? The real me, like the full me, hasn't shown up the last 5 years.
Wow.
Because of comfort. And he said, I'm at a point where I need a spark. I want to push myself and go another level because it energizes me. And I know that I won't do it if I stay in my comfort zone. So actually making a move and a change is going to be a good thing. It's going to spark me and energize me and so on. So he goes, I'm actually pretty excited about the move to EXP. So, good stuff like that. I love working with people that are like, yep, I need to get a little uncomfortable. I want to grow another level, my leadership, my influence, my impact, and so on.
Yeah, this is a place to get that spark. I know a lot of people that I've helped, look at the company, especially people that have been around for many years, 30 plus years in the business. Every time we talk to them, they thank me again for that phone call because no one else called them, and they say it's making real estate fun again. They're really getting involved, and it's just making real estate fun again with being surrounded by like-minded people that are all owners of the company, and we all pull each other up, right?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Matt, what do you say to someone, Matt, when their big issue is they love their broker, and that's why they're not looking to make a move. They just love their broker. What do you say to someone that has that feeling?
Yeah, good question. I said, hey, I'm a very loyal person too. I mean, I've only been at a few brokerages over my 27 years and so on. And so being a loyal person, being someone of love and character and so on, I totally get it. I would ask you just for a short minute, right? You can always put it back on, but can you take your emotional hat off and put your business hat on? Because sometimes when we're talking about, I love my broker, I love her, I love him, but or the family, we're like family in the office. That's all emotional stuff. Now, there's value there. I don't discount that or discredit that because your working environment is an important thing. Now, the thing is, they're basing their decision on something that they already know that is established, right? Versus an unknown at EXP and what they think they know. You and I know, Andre, that most people out in the real estate community say they've heard about EXP. I know about EXP. I talked to someone about EXP. And we know to ask a little more clarifying questions. How long are you talking to someone now? How long ago was it that you talked to someone? Hey, did you ever do a deep dive on the model? I mean, really with your business hat on and dive deep on it, or was it more conversational and things of that nature and kind of what you've heard out on the street and so forth? And they'll go, well, yeah, it was more conversations and things. We never did a deep dive. We never analyzed my business compared to the model and those sort of things. I said, look, here's the deal. I used to love my broker too. And you know what? I still love my broker. In fact, call him up for lunch. We'd go have lunch, my old broker. And so that shouldn't go away, your love and friendship and respect and all that. But I'm asking you to put your business hat on because at the end of the day, your broker is not paying your bills. Your broker is not funding your kids' retirement, right? Those agents that you love at the water cooler, they're not paying your bills. They're not funding your retirement. They're not bringing your spouse home from work, right? Those sort of things. So the reality is we need to really look at what are we doing personally, business-wise, to further our family's financial future so that we can leave a legacy, so that we can actually buy our time back. I would challenge you in a loving way. I know you're a loving person. I would challenge you in a loving way that your comfort is costing you huge amounts of money and huge amounts of opportunity for your real family back home. There's work family and there's your real at-home family. And at the end of the day, the one that's not going to leave you is your at-home family. Your work family can and will. You give it enough time, agents are going to make moves and changes and so on, just like brokers. In fact, I would ask you, if your broker were to sell the company, would they come to you and make sure that you signed off on it and said it was okay for them to sell? And they'd say, well, no. And I go, really? But you guys are so close and you've been so loyal. And the other thing I would ask you to think about is your loyalty of being there, Andre, 10 years at whatever the company, right? Mom and pop, Remax, Coldwell Banker, it doesn't matter, right? Whatever the company, you've been super loyal. You've been a high performer for so many years, and they've made a lot of money off of you. And it's okay to say that. Let's be real. Our business hat's on. They've made a lot of money off of you.
The business owners are supposed to.
Right? Yeah. Now, have they given you ownership in the company for your loyalty and paying them so much? You know, you've been paying them 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand year after year. This other person I've talked to, 100,000 a year. And they've been there for over a decade. Okay. I think it's close to 17 years.
Oh, wow.
That's $1.7 million that this person has given their broker, that they love their broker and they love their office. I go, man, you're paying a lot for comfort. Like that comfort is costing you a lot of money.
If you gave me 1.7 million, I'd love you too, man.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So those are the things that I would kind of challenge them. You got to build a little relationship and trust, but don't be afraid also to kind of lovingly challenge them and tell them, say, hey, I'm going to, really with kid gloves, but because I respect you, I gotta have you kind of think about this. I got to ask these questions, right? Do you love your broker and brokerage more than you love your family? Because right now your choice with your emotional hat on is choosing your broker or brokerage over your family. And I can say that because I have my business hat on, and we've run the numbers and so on. And you're giving 20 grand more every year to your broker, your brokerage family, than your family. And
a lot of that's just in fees, just in the not having a cap or whatever. That doesn't include the ownership and hitting the icon agent and getting that $16,600.
Yeah, the icon
of ownership, right?
Yeah,
doesn't include the health insurance and on and on. So I just ask people to do the math. Just let us help you do the math. And I've had some people kind of they say, yeah, I looked at the math and it's not that much different. They did it themselves. So there's so many things that they don't know about because it's hard to figure out and do the math from the outside looking in. You got to have someone in the company that can say, oh, well, what about this and what about that and so forth. A lot of people don't know that, if say they built up a passive income of 20,000, 30, 50,000, whatever, per month or more, and they were to pass away, what happens to that income? Most people don't know that, that can be, handed down to their family or kids or whoever they want to. That person, beneficiary, only has to get their real estate license in the next 12 months. They don't even have to sell a house. They just have to get their license because it's commission-based income, right?
That's very, very true. And we talk about it, Andre, but very few agents in EXP have actually had it happen where they've taken advantage of that. I actually had one of my leaders in my organization, phenomenal guy. He passed. He got sick and passed in the hospital, and
wow.
Fairly young guy in his 40s, and really sad. And his wife and left two daughters in their 17, 19 years old at the time. And I went, oh my gosh, we've been talking to people about, and he had built up reoccurring residual, based on his rev share and so forth, and stock at all, because he was an icon producer and so on. So I hadn't really talked to his wife ever, but because of this, we talked, and I said, look, I really want to help you, through this difficult time and transition. Let me get with EXP and find out what the details are, what we need to do to make this happen. And so long story short, EXP did exactly what you said. It's in their independent contractor agreement. You have 12 months. You can will it. So it was passed on to his wife. And another amazing thing, he had earned stock that was to be vested, right? Some of them are 2 years, some are 3 years, and so on, vesting period. Well, because of her situation, him passing and having the two kids and all that, this is how amazing EXP is as a company. And this doesn't get out enough. They moved all the stock over into her name, and they immediately made it vested.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. I went, oh my gosh, that's incredible. It's one thing to build this rev share, this passive residual coming in that she can now tap into every month. It's going into her account now, and, and she has access to it and it's ongoing. But then to get all the stock that he had built up and then have it vested right then, that was incredible. They didn't have to do that. I don't think it was in their bylaws at all, but they just said, no, it's the right thing to do. That's our leadership, right?
Yeah, that's incredible. Man, I can go to bed sleeping at night knowing, hey, if something happens, I get sick, the good Lord takes me tomorrow. My family is going to be taken care of because of the work and effort that we put into it. Who can say that at the average real estate company? Once you get off that treadmill voluntarily or involuntarily, what's gonna happen? Normally, the income just stops. But yeah, definitely. Really enjoying our conversation. Want to shout out to Blake and Chinky and Rajveer and the others who've jumped on. If you have any questions for Matthew, please put them in the comment sections. And again, forward this out to your friends and such. I haven't shared this with too many people, Matthew, but that just sparked a very recent memory because of the Hurricane Ian that came through Florida. We just moved to Florida recently.
Wow.
2 weeks before Ian, right? Oh, wow. And I didn't share. I mean, people saw, my friends and my business partners knew it because they saw on social media when we got our phones and stuff back with power. But someone at EXP put my name in for the recovery. I forget the extended hand for EXP.
And agents helping agents. Yeah.
Yeah. And I got $1,000 deposited into my account a few weeks after the hurricane with a note basically, from the company sharing, this is from us to help you through, hope it helps through your, transition with the hurricane. I didn't ask for it. I didn't put my name in looking for it. It was just given to me.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Yeah. And I actually know the gal who started that program. Her name's Lexi, and she's a success coach, her and her hubby. Yeah. Pretty awesome people that we have at EXP.
Well, I've really enjoyed our conversation. I know you're a busy man and have some more appointments to jump on. Any last things you'd like to share for any of your friends, maybe agents that you've talked to in the past, or ones that you've called and never really connected? What would you like to make sure they get, walk away from this interview? And of course, your phone number is on there, so I want them to reach out to you to get reconnected.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Andre, is as we didn't know each other before EXP, right? At all, right? But because of EXP, we've got to know each other, got introduced, got to know each other, and there's more and more amazing people at EXP, joining EXP. It's so much different once you get on the inside than what you're hearing all the noise on the outside. You have to remember, people have agendas. And when we call as an EXP, on the other end of the phone, wherever the realtor's at a different brokerage, they think our agenda is they just want to, we're there to get them and we're going to recruit them and so on. And sure, we do want to attract you over to EXP. Absolutely, 100%. But it's coming, and I don't know, there's so many different people calling and so on, even within EXP, different agents, and some are doing it well, some are not doing it well at all, some are pros, etc. But, when you find the one that really does have a good heart, I would say you do, I do, there's others that we call, daily, have this club that we do. It's pretty awesome. People are welcome. But I would just challenge agents to be more open-minded to learn from people on the inside. I think it is difficult because you're concerned that, again, we're just trying to get you, right? But I'm an open book. I tell agents all the time, like, let's really just have a conversation, right? I'm not here to convince you to come over. I think EXP sells itself once you spend the time and put your business hat on, really put your business hat on and go, okay, I need to learn this from an expert, a real pro that knows what they're talking about, that has had success prior to EXP, is having success and crushing it within EXP. And that's all I ask for is agents to keep an open mind. I had a mentor that said, what's the most expensive thing that you can own in this world? And I went, I don't know, is it an island? Is it a country? I don't know. Right. And he goes, it's a closed mind. The most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind. And he also said, your mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's open. And I'm like, these are great nuggets because they're so true, right? I can't refute them. And the reality is, people, if they would be more open-minded, to just be learning based, to just learn and listen and take things in, it doesn't mean you lose your power on making a move. You could still stay where you're at, but at least you're getting the facts and the figure, and you really know what the model is and why we're growing at, 700 to 1,000 agents every week. And I think we're really coming into a growth spurt, spike coming into 2023 and 2024. As the market is downturning, agents are starting to feel a little bit of pain.
Right.
And I think they're realizing more and more that, well, maybe I should listen. I mean, gosh, these agents are so excited at EXP, and it's been ongoing year after year. So it must be real. You can't maintain excitement that long, right? It's not fake. And so that's really my heart at this stage. I think the same for you, Andre, is how can we bless and help agents, make a difference in their lives, their actual personal lives and their families' financial futures. My wife and I, and you and your wife, we've been blessed to build a 6-figure reoccurring income. Now, that's all based on production and agents in our organization still producing. So of course we help them and coach them and motivate them to, continue production and growing it and so on. But, when you got 6 figures coming in, that is what I call mailbox money, which it's funny. I'm talking to these younger agents and they're like, what do you mean? What's mailbox money? I went, wait, what, are you serious? And they go, yeah, what do you mean? I go, oh gosh, I'm old now. I'm dating myself. We used to get checks in the mail, and they just show up, mailbox money. It's kind of cool, whether you sleep or vacation or whatever. I said, okay, well, you get it ACH into your account just, on the 21st of every month. It just shows up. It could be, 2,000, could be 10,000, could be 100,000. Like there's people at EXP making all those figures. So it's pretty amazing, pretty life-changing when you can have a steady income that you can bank on that shows up just passively. Like you wrote a hit song and it gets played over and over, right, and you get paid every time. And it takes the pressure off, because if you've done this business long enough, we have all had knucklehead clients that we should have fired, but because we needed the money, we needed the sale, we stuck it out with them and lost sleep at night and stress and barked at our spouse because we're frustrated. And, it's just like, ugh, right? We don't need those people in our life. And so when you have that reoccurring residual, it just takes the pressure off. You can still love sales and do your 20, 30, 50, 100 sales a year, but it's coming from a different space. You actually become a more powerful realtor because you no longer have commission breath at all. And you can totally choose, you literally in a power position of choosing whether you're going to work with this client or not. As opposed to most newer realtors and so on, it's the realtor or the client is choosing them because they're interviewing other realtors. And it's funny, people want what they can't have. And when you don't need that client, they want you even more, right? And so you can lay boundaries. Hey, I don't work Sundays. That's my church and family day.
Right.
I don't work weekends. I just work Monday through Friday. If that doesn't work for you, I'll refer you to a great agent and get a referral fee, There's so much opportunity within your real estate business to get your freedom, to get your time and your choice back, right? Which benefits your family, benefits your kids. You're able to spend more time at those basketball tournaments or those golf tournaments where they're multiple days or whatever, and you're fully present. It's just life-changing.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe, at some point, every real estate agent's life, if they've done this long enough and hard enough, at some point their focus will start turning a little bit away from active everyday income to passive income. And once that passive income, pays your bills and takes care of your family, that's when the fun begins. And I think that's a lot of why people are having, EXPs bringing fun back into real estate again, because it's changing lives. Well, again, thanks, Matthew, for jumping on our Financial Freedom Forever podcast. Really enjoyed our conversation. Been learning a lot from you and continue our relationship. The last thing I always ask is if you're a book reader, what's your most favorite book that you like to recommend, or a movie watcher? What's the best movie that you like to recommend?
Well, first and foremost, I recommend the Bible, like really reading it and studying it. They call it the living word. It truly is alive. If you allow it to really sink in, it is a living document. It's incredible. It's truly, truly life-changing. Outside of that, there's a lot of different books. How to Win Friends and Influence People is an amazing book. I had a leader in my life years and years ago that read that book. The first year he did it every month. And then after that, it was every year for, I think, 10 years he read that book. And he had a huge organization that he built. He turned into an amazing leader and had many friends and so on. So you could see the principles in that book, and people use magnetic. People just love being around them. So that is a phenomenal, phenomenal book. Never gets tired.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing, and looking forward to seeing you at one of the next live events. Appreciate you, and thanks everyone for jumping on the Financial Freedom Forever podcast. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I love it.
Buddy. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Listen to what our business partners are saying about our FFF group.
All right, so the reason I love Triple F is because everybody there that's able to help me when I need an answer, I can call them, I can message them, and they get back to me. That's why Triple F is the best.
What I love most is that the collaboration here is so contagious, and we're all financially incentivized to help each other grow and be successful. It's each one teach one, and we're here to help each other grow.
What I love about the Financial Freedom Forever group is the collaboration. The wealth of knowledge we can tap into is incredible. I absolutely love is the mentorship and support, nonstop support. You have access to people's calendars that you wouldn't ordinarily have access to that get you further than you are right now.
To get your questions answered and learn more about how to partner with us, go to partnerwithandre.com or simply scan the QR code. Check out the videos, get on my calendar, and let's have a private conversation. See if you might be a good fit for us to work together and help grow your business to the next level.